Oh yeah. As soon as you turn on the camera, your image disappears from you, but that's fine as long as
All right. Normally
it's.
that comes by turning the camera off and turning it back on.
Oh yeah,
Is
it's
that
back. Yeah,
all
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. Okay. So you're asking about leaving Thailand and going back to London, and about, and you're saying what? That you can't think of anything to talk about but the Dhamma, and so you're asking about being a Dhamma teacher.
I don't want to be a Dhamma teacher, but it seems to be like the only thing that there is to do. There's nothing else really worth doing other than
All right.
food and shelter, right?
The first thing then is to think of is to take the word teacher and all of the bad and double meanings and all of that has to do, and substitute the word talk. So you can just talk about Dhamma. Or another word that you can use instead of teacher is smile. You can just smile the Dhamma. You don't have to teach the Dhamma. That, in fact, that point about smiling is a major part of it. You know, all the Buddha statues have the Buddha with a smile, a slight grin. Some call it the cat eating the bird grin. Okay? And that's basically what it is, except that the bird that we've got a hold of, that we've swallowed, is reality. And reality is actually quite tasty. And so that gives us a grin. All right? So that's the way to spread the Dhamma, is by talking about it and by smiling about it. But if you start teaching it, you're going to sound like a door to door salesman and get a bad rap, something like there's a group in the U.S. called the Jehovah's Witness, and they've got a really bad rap. Why? Because they insist on proselytizing and on teaching the Dhamma, and you don't have to do that. Basically, the easy way to do it, the way that I would do it, the way that it's practiced generally in all of Buddhism, is you wait until they ask questions and then you answer their questions in Dhamma. That way, you're off the hook. And that was what I would suggest. And the way to get them to ask questions is with having that bird eating grin on your face. Because people are not used to people being happy. That in fact, I've heard many students who talk about the people that they knew before they started practicing Dhamma would come up and say, "You have changed," indicating really changed for the better. And so, this is the way that we want to approach it. We want to look at it from that perspective that you're actually not just talking the Dhamma or teaching it, you're living it with a smile.
What I find is this thing of when we sat down on a porch and we talked about the retreat and how the Dhamma was being taught in the retreat, I found it that there's a lack of joy, and a lot of like teachings do lack that of joy because they don't really know how to almost portray it in a more digestible way for people, that they can
Hmm.
see this joy in their everyday life. It's actually happening, but they're just not being really aware of it.
Right. That's an important point, you see, is that um, a a lot of Buddhists, especially Western Buddhists, they they're not satisfied with what they are and what they have to the point of smiling about it. They're still wanting something, and so they're wanting something out of the meditation, as opposed to the meditation actually being sitting down and cultivating joy, practicing, developing the skill, Thus one trains oneself, is what it said in the suttas, about gladdening the mind, brightening the mind, putting a smile on it. And then you know that there's a lot of research also about facial muscles and neurolinguistics and all of that kind of stuff, neurology, that says that it works both directions. If you put a smile on your face intentionally, it'll put a smile on your mind. And if you've got a smile on your mind, it'll put a smile on your face. It works in both directions like that. The muscles are kind of funny that way. They work together. And so just by remembering to smile and smiling when you're out in public, that puts a smile on your mind also. And the whole trick is to remember to do that, to remember to take that frown and turn it upside down. That's what's hard to remember.
But that also puts like that smile already puts like a center of attention on you as you even walk into the room. As we talked about Ajahn Paul walking into the room, or even being around you, there's a precise center of attention that people are drawn to, which is uncomfortable at the same time to continue smiling. You want to almost put yourself down into the level of others, isn't it?
Well, yes, that's true, because misery loves company. And when you have a whole lot of ordinary people that are having ordinary mental states, they don't much like it when someone waltzes in with a great big grin. They don't like that so much. Why? Well, partly because you don't fit into their misery. You won't join their pity party. That's the whole point. And when they can get over that, then they'll want to join your happy party. But the initial reaction is they don't like it so much. But they'll get over that. You have to have, you've heard the expression, a teaspoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, right? Well, that's what we're doing. Except in some cases, a teaspoon is not enough. We need a shovelful, or maybe a backhoe scooper full. And in some cases, even one of these mining buckets that take about, 60 tons or something in its jaws, and then spits that out. That's the kind of joy that we need for some people, because they really don't like it when you're happy. But that's living the Dhamma. Can you continue to smile even when people don't like it when you're smiling?
Well, that comes from just having no more doubts, really, about all of it.
That's right. No more doubts about the Dhamma. I know enough that I can get away with anything by smiling. And what do I mean by getting away with anything? Getting along with people who don't smile. And so that's the place to start. And then the next point is that, sure, it's okay to talk about the Dhamma, but you can use the smiling as, can you remember to smile? And then we're starting to talk about sati. But you don't have to say that you're the Pali word sati. You can just tell them, you can remember to smile. You can remember that the day is not as bad as you think it is.
Well, that's precisely what I see myself doing more and more. Is I'm not really interested in discussing in more about noble. I'm more interested into making them see that they have these moments when they do ask or when they do write about it. I'm making it more adjustable to their life, because they won't see it if it's not, if they won't see it if it's not something they can relate. Like if they're not engineered, they're not going to understand engineering. So that's what I see as teaching. It's not really teaching. It's more like relating, we would say.
Exactly so. But that's exactly what the Dhamma is learning to relate with the Dhamma. Or another way to say it is learning to relate with reality. Because that's why people get so such a pity party is because they don't want to relate with reality. They want reality to conform to their ideas, and it's not going to do that. And so by seeing reality as just fine, then we can smile because we know that. You've got a secret, and the secret is reality is good enough. And we don't need a lot of plans to fix reality. Only a few will do. So this is my hint. This is the way that I would expect anybody to learn to teach the Dhamma, is starting this way. Starting to help people to remember that they've got a choice about smiling or not smiling. You don't have to bring in Buddha or the Eightfold Noble Path or the Four Noble Truths, not in the first 10 minutes anyway.
Well, it happens really naturally. You know that there is no way getting through that thickness initially anyway. So it happens naturally as you're just smiling,
Mm-hmm.
and the questions come from time to time, right?
And you know that some people are going to be downright resistant to hearing anything that's outside their system. So a Christian's not going to like you talking about Buddhism, but a Christian can smile. Smiles are not illegal in Christianity. Learning to remember to smile, learning to remember that everything is real. I mean, they talk about their religion as if a whole lot of magical creatures are out there someplace. And so in general, Christianity lives in a non-reality to begin with. And so it's really easy in that delusion to fall into misery. Their teaching is that you already are broken, you already deserve hell, and that's where you're going to go when you die. And the idea then is that, well, whatever is real is better than whatever we make up. And smiling, like I said, is not illegal anywhere that I know of. And so that's what you can teach. You don't have to use the word Buddha or anything. Just smile, darn you, smile. That's all we need to do. And when people start asking you questions about why are you so cheerful, you can say, because I practice being cheerful. I remember to be cheerful. If I didn't practice and remember to be cheerful, I'd be as miserable as you are, hint, hint. So
Okay.
is that good enough? Is that enough for you to get started?
Oh, I already have started a long time ago. It's just something that I see more unfolding naturally as you're just smiling, as you said. It just happens. It's nothing I can really do about it other than smile through it, isn't it? So
Yes, in fact, I encourage my friends to stop seeing me as a teacher and to just see me as a friend who talks about the Dhamma.
that's one of the things I also seen lately, that there's no teacher really, and we do just talk about Dhamma. I can envision you as some kind of spiritual teacher or whatever, but in the end, it really stick when you said the only way to give back to Dhamma is by, like, the only way to give back to the teacher is by continuing the Dhamma. It's just by
Mm-hmm.
continuing to Buddha, to you, to whoever teaches it. Like, it's the only way of actually feeling like this gratefulness and giving back is the only way. It's by you starting to being joyful, and then it rubs off on others. That's the whole effect.
That's all there is to it. Makes it really easy that way, is to remember to smile.
Well, I'm really glad I called you again to catch you just one last time before we go to the different time zones.
All right.
It
Well,
was
we'll see you
really
again on
nice.
the internet. Once you get back to London, you can tell me how it's going.
Absolutely.
All right,
Take care,
Karl.
Dhammarato.
We'll
Bye
see you
bye.
later. Okay, bye-bye.